What's up, guys? Sorry it's been a little bit since I've posted anything on the old YouTube. Had some bike stuff going on, so last time I took out the Beta, I was on my way back to the vehicle and it developed a bit of a vibration, and I'm talking like early 1980s two-stroke type of vibration. The plastics were shaking, the bars were shaking. It was like definitely not normal. So I made it back to the vehicle and took it into my Beta dealer. It only had about just over 2 hours on it at the time, and you know, they went through some things with Beta corporate and fixed it under warranty. I'll roll in a picture of the issue, but basically one of the Woodruff keys for the gear on the crank broke, and from talking with the mechanic, it sounds like maybe the nut that holds that gear on wasn't all the way torqued down, so that gear was slightly loose, so all that pressure was on the Woodruff key, and it caused it to break. Which I've never seen a Woodruff key break. You know, I've been working on stuff for a long time, you know, 20 plus years. I've never seen one of those break. I'm sure obviously they can, and it happened to me. But the cool thing was the dealer was awesome. Beta was awesome. They took care of it. They took care of it in a timely manner. I didn't have to wait on a bunch of back and forth. Sounded like Beta just told the dealer, like, hey, it's covered. Do whatever you need to do. If they, you know, basically if I wanted a brand new engine, I could have got a brand new engine. But, you know, I just, once they found out what the issue was, the timing hadn't slipped or anything like that, so you know, nothing else was broken. I figured they replaced the gear just out of safety and put everything back together, and it's running pretty good. So I've got it out here at mile markers, we call it here in Arizona, so North Phoenix, and we're just gonna run the bike down some single track. It'll be the first time out on, I wouldn't say it's like difficult single track, but more difficult than anything else I've done on this bike. And we are at, let's see here, 61 miles on the bike right now and 2.7 hours. So yeah, I just got it back yesterday, and I figured the best thing to do is to take it out in the middle of nowhere by myself with no cell reception. So hopefully they did a good job fixing it and everything's going to hold together. But yeah, so we should be in for a good time. I tried to ride last weekend with the TX, and I showed up at the trailhead. It was really embarrassing. I had two other guys there with me that I had never met before, and I couldn't get the bike started. Basically what happened is the float got stuck open, and when I was trying to start it, it just guzzled a whole bunch of gas into the case. And you know, I tried and tried. Basically I just had to leave it sit. I pulled the carb out, the reeds out, and the spark plug out, and let it sit overnight, put it back together, and it fired right up. So I didn't get to ride last weekend either, so it's been a little bit since I've been out on the bike, and I desperately need it. So excited to be on the Beta again, so we'll just see how it goes, and yeah, enjoy the ride. I am riding on the blue map right now. I haven't tried the white map a lot on this bike, this particular bike. On my 390 I used to ride in the white map a decent amount when I was on technical terrain, but we're not going to do a lot of that today. I'm just trying to get a feel for the 350 more or less. So we'll keep it pretty easy. And I still am on stock tubes, which I hate. They're very bouncy. I'm excited. I have the replacement tubes that I'm going to use at the house. So now that I got the bike back, I'll probably work on that over the holidays and get that in there. Man, it feels so good to be back on this bike. So I apologize if I go slower through some of these big chunky loose rocks. The spike just seems, with these tubes, I really think it is the tubes, seems to be all over the place. Same thing happened on the gas when I was running stock tubes on that, and then as soon as I put those moose balls in it, it really helped. So the new tubes I got are like a super duper heavy duty tube. I don't know if I'll do an install video. It's pretty embarrassing watching me try and get tires on the rims. So but I'm going to use the Luciolis. So they're pretty thick tubes. They're almost like as thick as a tire, but you can run them at a really low PSI. So I'm pretty excited about that, being able to soften up the tires a little bit. I still haven't bought a rear tire for this. I don't know what I'm going to use. Is this the way? I think this is the way. That's the way I want to go. I was on the wrong track. Yeah, so we'll see what rear tire I end up with. I don't know if I'll do a gummy on this. I might do more of a hybrid type tire. On my way to get to the single track, I flamed out once, and I was like, oh boy, here we go again. And then it hasn't happened since. I think I was in the wrong gear, but we'll see. I mean, that was my big complaint on the gas was just constant flame outs, and I didn't have those issues on my other beta, and I'm really hoping I don't have that on this one either. I know it's a 350, not a 390, so you know, it might not be quite as good on the flame outs. But it does really good. I'm just lugging the crap out of it right now, and it's doing really well. Get back in the right gear. Not looking for those whoops today. Couldn't avoid those. Man, it feels so good. I'm telling you. This bike feels so freaking good. I'm definitely loving the steg pegs. They are pretty awesome. What I don't think I've done it. Oh, I did put a skid plate on it. So I've got a beefier skid plate on here now. I still have the exhaust strap on. Other than that, it is no change since the last time. So yeah, I just can't, man, I am so excited to be back out here. I just want to go a little nuts. Should be a little technical section coming up here. Oh yeah. No problem, no flame out. Keep forgetting it's a little bit taller than what I'm used to. Almost lost it there. I'm out of bike shape. It's only been like 2 weeks I'm out of bike shape. But super awesome. Man, I'm so pumped to be back on this thing. Alright, we'll take the sand wash for a little bit and then jump on some more single track. Alright guys, we are back on the single track. Same with all the 4-strokes I've owned. Second time's the charm. Got the fan running a little bit. Back after it. I'll tell you what I really like about these steg pegs is you feel locked into the bike. And I think it does help a little bit with arm pump. I was a little skeptical, but as long as you're really locked into them, it does help. At least I feel it. Some people say it doesn't help at all, but maybe it's just individuals. I don't know. I'm sold on them now. little squirrely in that sand patch. Go this way today. It's a little hard on this bike with the bibs. I'm so used to just running over stuff. This one I just have to be a little bit more cognizant of what I'm doing. Well, I think that's the single track I want. I think I might actually like these Nissan brakes over the Brembos I had on the TX. It's hard to say. I'd like to ride them back to back and see. Stay out of that rut. I don't know if you could hear it, but the bike got really low in the RPMs there, but it didn't flame out, which I feel is just so different from the gas. I mean, like I said, I'm not doing anything crazy technical today, but definitely feel like this is a different story. I am excited to ride the gas and this beta back to back out here. I think that would be a really fun comparison, because that WP suspension on the gas is freaking awesome. And it's so nimble of a bike. So like in that tighter stuff, I feel like it really would have done a good job. This bike isn't terrible to throw around though. It's not like it's a slug or anything. And I'm still somewhat taking it easy. It's not at the 3-hour mark yet, which is where you can go full out on it, full open I should say. Oh, I forgot to mention, the dealer did the first service while they had the bike open for me. And before they knew what the issue was, they're like, well, let's just do the first service and we'll check out the issue while it's here. And I did ask them if there was any metal or anything in the oil. They said no. Everything looked good. They didn't see anything in there. So that Woodruff key, it really did just snap. It was just in two pieces, and it was still in the spot. It was just broken. So half was in the crank and half was in the gear. So it's not like a whole bunch of little pieces got out and about everywhere. Everything was still where it should be. I mean, it's unfortunate that it happened, but I'm glad I had a dealer and a company that stood behind the product, because, man, I was outside of the 30 days, which is what KTM Husky and Gas give you. Now, out of all the KTM brand bikes I've had, I've only had one issue, and that was on my first one, my TE 250. They didn't necessarily tell me what was wrong, but I took it in. I was like, hey, this thing ain't running right. They messed with it for a while and just said, oh yeah, we found it, we fixed it, and I didn't ask any questions. But that was within the 30-day window. I think it might depend on the dealer what that looks like. And I know in my 390 video I mentioned that about getting parts and all that kind of stuff for the betas, and I haven't heard anything saying that people have had a hard time getting parts. And my dealer was able to get the parts for this in pretty quick. So you know, from the time they figured out what part it was to when I had the bike back was less than a week. So that's pretty quick in my book. It ain't like ordering it on Amazon or anything. And I think you can pick your shipping method for direct from beta. So we'll see. Because I do follow a lot, so I know I'm gonna break stuff. Finally out of the rocks are cleared off the trail a little bit. they just make me nervous with these thin tubes and higher pressures. I just get bounced around, like I said earlier, and I don't like that. Let's take a minute here. So when I am going on like washboard stuff and all that, I think I do notice a little bit that the KTM or the KTMs, the KYBs are a little stiff. Maybe slightly stiffer than the WPs, but it's not bad. Like all that stuff that I was just on, tons of little rocks and boulders and stuff on there that would normally create a lot of chop, and it doesn't feel like it's shaking me to pieces or anything like that. So I still haven't played with the clickers. I think I mentioned in my first video that I probably won't mess with them until I get the other tubes in and get that figured out. But yeah, that's the only gripe I have on the bike right now, is just these stock tubes. I think power feels awesome, the bike feels amazing. I'm really excited to get it dialed in.